Hello, hello, hello. How is your week going? It just started. It's Monday for you. It's Sunday evening for me. And it's 8:54. And I am headed to my meeting, which I wasn't going to go to. But my friend called me and he is chairing it and he got sick. And it's a speaker meeting and somebody needs to announce speaker, so I said that I would go and chair it because he asked me to. So I am really, really tired. I just uploaded this whole video about the Celebrity Big Brother leak of house guests, and it was completely wrong because now the Grammys are out and they're like releasing it during the Grammys of who the real cast is. It's so completely wrong. But I was like, you know what? I had so much fun making I feel like such an idiot, but I'm like, I had so much fun making the video that I'm just gonna leave the video up. I'm not gonna take it down. I'll just I'll just leave it up, and then tomorrow, what is this car doing? And then tomorrow I'll just take responsibility for it in my video that I do tomorrow and say something about it. So that's all I can do, you know what I mean, is take responsibility for my actions and do the best I can do and remain teachable and move forward. So we all make mistakes, I guess. I think it's faster to go this way. I wanted to get there a little bit earlier so I could set up the candles and stuff and not be like rushing at the last minute. I love candlelight meetings so much. I always find such like serenity when I'm at the candlelight meetings, and they're truly candlelight meetings. I mean, like, we light candles and sit in a circle, and tonight my friend is sharing her story. So I've never heard her story before, so that'll be interesting. And yeah. It's chilly here today. It's 36. We had a really good day today. We got up. It was funny because Alex was like, he texted, so I ended up going and meeting Lori last night, and he texted me and he was like, going to bed. He went to bed at like 2 o'clock. He stayed up and watched, like, caught up on all, like, most of his TV shows. He's watching The Flash right now. And we usually record the Grammys and then watch them later so we can fast forward through all the stuff we don't want to see. And then just watch, like, the performances and the people get their awards. So anyway, I was watching the people walk on the red carpet, though. Like, gosh, some of those outfits are so pretty, aren't they? I just love that. Sometimes I really, really wish I would have gone into fashion. You know, I just had such a desire to do that, and I can sew from a pattern, and I can make a pattern, I can sew in a sewing machine. I just really wish I had done that, but maybe in a different life, you know. I guess it's never too late, but I appreciate fashion now, but it's not really where my desire is, if that makes sense. It's so much work, you know. But anyway, oh, my head. So anyway, he texted me and he goes, hey, don't stay out too late. He's like, maybe we can go do brunch earlier tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So I got up today and he was asleep still. He slept in longer than I did. And, he must have needed it. He's worked so much this last week. So we went to brunch and we like walked in and we saw like this couple that we're really good friends with. The couple that I always talk about on here, where like they like had us over for dinner and they talked to us about our relationship and said, if you can make it to 3 years, everything will be fine. They're like one of our best couple friends. And we met them together at about 3 months of us dating. And they've been just really, really good friends ever since then. And we know their kids and stuff like that. And it's so funny because I've known their kids since they were young. And now, like, their daughter's going to college next year. And it's crazy how time flies, you know? But anyway, so we came in and we're like, come eat with us. And so they ate with us. We had a great brunch. And our friend is so funny. He like loves to eat and he works out all the time, and so he's like like, he got all this food, and then he's like, I'm still hungry. And we had, like, just ordered when their food, like, because they moved tables and sat with us, and so their food came over there. And, like, when our food came, he go, I'm still hungry. He goes, I'm ordering a waffle. So he got a waffle, and he was real excited about that. And anyway, we just had a good time. And then afterwards, Alex and I went to Best Buy and looked at washers and dryers and picked out the washer and dryer that we're gonna get. And I use like the reward zone on my Best Buy card, which is always paid off. So I mean, it's always so low. And I was like, you know what? Like, Best Buy might not be a bad place to get it, because we can get it 18 months, same as cash. I can pay it off in 2 months, and then, you know, whatever. And he was like, okay, let's do that. So we did that. And then I was also looking for this pet vacuum, which they didn't have there. So it's like $60. The ones they had were like $200, like Dyson ones. And I was like, I'm not paying $200 for like a vacuum. I mean, it's like a little vacuum, you know? So, but we went there, and then we went home, and I was gonna lay down, and then I started making my videos, and then that ended up becoming like this very long thing. I don't know why. That was at like 5 o'clock. He was watching TV upstairs, and I started making my videos, and then I was like, I'm gonna run and get something to drink. I was gonna get a fountain Coke, but I just didn't really feel like a fountain Coke. And so then I ended up leaving and like talking to some friends on the phone, and then it was like a half an hour later, and I came back, and I still hadn't made my video, and so I sat down to make my video. It was probably the universe telling me that wasn't the video to make that day, because, yeah. It's interesting because, like, when I just heard about this, I, like, immediately went into the description box on my video, and I said, hey, I'm sorry, you guys, I got it wrong, and I put who the real cast is, and I said, but I had so much fun making it. I had so much fun, I was laughing so much in the video. I was like, I'm just gonna leave it up anyways, so and I'll, you know, make up for it tomorrow. And then I put it in a comment too, and I pinned the comment. It's interesting, like, how many people are still commenting that I got it wrong. I'm like, I've done my best, okay? I'm not taking the video down. My videos are really never much about, like, the facts anyway, you know? I mean, they're like my opinions on social commentary, so. Oh well, it is what it is. We all make mistakes, I think. It was so foggy last night, and it was foggy this morning too. Like, I took the dogs outside, and it was so foggy it looked like a Sherlock Holmes like book or novel. It was so pretty outside, and it's foggy right now. I don't really know why it is. I wanted to stop and get a cup of coffee, but I didn't want to be late, and it's already 9:03 now, so I was like, well, I better just go to the meeting. I think it's supposed to get cold again this week. Somebody asked me on my comment section, because I said I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow. They said, our hair salon's open in the Midwest on Mondays. No, most hair salons actually aren't open. I know that's like, what's that called? Like Hairdresser's Holiday or something. But the salon that I go to is open on Mondays. And they have like just a couple people that work in there on Mondays. I didn't even know that the person that cut my hair, I didn't even know that this girl cuts that she does it. I didn't know she was there on Mondays. But I missed my last appointment, and I'm so embarrassed. I never miss appointments. I'm so weird about that. And I missed my last appointment, and so they had to kind of fit me in wherever they could get me. And I mean, I still paid for the appointment, but whatever. I missed it. So I was like, whatever, you can get me in. And so it was like Monday at noon, and I was like, well, Monday at noon it is, then, I guess, you know? So yeah, but they're not open like long. They're like have shortened hours on Mondays, and it's not the whole salon that's open. It's like fewer people that work in there. So, but I'm okay with that. They also also do staggered schedules, and they're like, the person that cuts my hair, she gets like a different, like, she has Sundays off, and then she has like Wednesdays off or something, because I think that she does something with her daughter's school, like 1 day a week. So that might be why she works Mondays. I don't know. But then I know that there's a lot of people, because I've been to so many people in this salon, I know that there's a lot of people that have Saturday and Sunday off. Or they'll have, they have Sunday and Monday off, not Saturdays. Most of them work on Saturdays. I think Saturday is like their busiest day. Lori and I had fun last night. We were both like really tired though, and then we kind of got like our second wind. And I like lost all of my money, and I was like ready to go, and then like I was down to like $10, and I like won all this money back. I won all my money back minus $10. So I was like, well, that's good. And then I left, and Lori stayed. And then I got home, and I like could not fall asleep to save my life. I laid in bed for hours, and I had these cheese cubes, those cheese cubes that I ate the other day. Excuse me, I had those left over. So I went and I ate a bunch of cheese. This is probably so great at, 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I could not sleep, you guys. I was laying in bed for like 2 or 3 hours. And so I ate the cheese, and then I had some crackers, and I sat there and I watched The Most Popular Girls in High School. I didn't watch the last season, and I love that show, so I'm trying to catch up with it. You guys watch that? The Most Popular Girls in High School on YouTube? It's fantastic. I mean, it's really ballsy language and stuff like that, but I love it. Anyway, I watched an episode of that, and yeah, that was it. So, well, all right, you guys, I'm almost at my turn off, so I'm going to get off here, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Hello. Okay, I'm back in the car. Went to my meeting, had a great meeting tonight. Oh my God, my friend's story was so powerful. And then came home and did a live stream, and then hung out with Alex for just a little bit. He was going to bed. I'm eating this candy bar right now. Okay, so I'm so hungry. And this is like my new favorite candy bar. Have you guys seen these? They are so good. They're called Hershey's Gold Caramelized Cream Peanut, Caramelized Cream, Hershey's Gold Peanut and Pretzels. They're like the best candy bar in the entire world. And I know. Yeah, they're horrible for me, but I don't care. They're so good. And this post-it note here. Best Buy Bissell Pet Stain Eraser Carpet Cleaner. We went today and we looked, and they didn't have it. They had other ones. I already talked about this, but on my live stream tonight for like an hour and a half. It was fun. I guested a bunch of people, and was like asking them questions from this giant book of if questions that I have. It was fun. I had a good time. It was funny, Alex and I were talking earlier today because we had like said 7 years from like a date that we were gonna move to like Florida, which would be like 4 years from this upcoming summer. And I said that I thought that while we were down there, we should start looking at some areas, but if not this year, definitely next year, we should take like 3 or 4 days and look around Miami and see areas that we want to be in. Well, Alex has always said that he wanted to be, like in this like high-rise building. So here's the story. Okay. So when Alex and I first got together, we had some like deal breakers. And his was that he always wanted to move to Florida. Nowhere else. It had to be Florida. And I said that was fine. My deal breaker was that I always wanted to have dogs. So those were the two things that we agreed on. And, but the reality was, I don't remember living anywhere else. I was too young when we moved here from Chicago. I've lived in Indianapolis all my life. It kind of scares me to think about moving, honestly. And, well, not now it doesn't, but back then it scared me to think about moving. My mom had just died. I felt like Indianapolis was my connection to my mom. You know, like, my dad and my stepmom live here. My cousin Caroline lives here. But other than that, like, it's not like I have tons of people. And the thing is that Tanya's always talked about moving to Florida, like, full-time. Tanya's bought a lot of land in Tennessee on a lake down there. I think she has like 4 lots. She has like one for her son, one for her, and then like 2 other lots that they're gonna sell. And so she wants to build on her lot and then like have that as like a lake house because she loves Tennessee. And she wants to have like horses out there and stuff too. Like if she keeps one of the lots, like the lot, she's always wanted to have horses. Tanya will always own like a business. And then she wants to move to Florida, but she wants to be on like the Gulf side. Somewhere like below St. Pete, but like a smaller town. And she wants to own like an ice cream and pizza shop or something like that. Something small. But she said pizza and ice cream shop a lot. And call it Teas. And, like Tanya, Teas. So anyway, you know, then it became kind of appealing to me. Because I was like, well, Tanya's not going to be in Indianapolis forever. You know, her husband's like 65. He's retired. He's been retired for a long time. So, you know, it's like, I thought, well, if Tanya and I are both in Florida, I mean, the reality is, if I'm in southern Florida and she's like up there, we're talking maybe 5-hour drive. We could visit with each other on the weekends and things like that. It wouldn't be that bad. So then we started going to Florida. We went to Fort Lauderdale the spring of our first year together. And we went to Miami like one night. I didn't really get to experience Miami at all. Alex took me to Mango's. And then we met up with our friend and we went out to a couple clubs. But that was really all I saw of Miami, was like the club scene, right? And I have since seen so much of Miami that I just love all of Miami. I mean, and there's a lot of crime in Miami, and, you know, it's a big city and all that kind of stuff, but the second time that we went, we went for a vacation, and it wasn't for Ultra. No, and we went to Fort Lauderdale. Was it for Ultra? I can't remember. This is like our 5th or 6th year for Ultra. It might have been, but anyway, we went and we stayed in Fort Lauderdale for 2 days. Now, I had always said that I wanted to live in Fort Lauderdale, or like Hollywood, or one of those areas around there. Aventura or something like that, but that I didn't want to live, like I wanted to live in a more residential area, which I still really would. I'd like to have like one of those, like, you know, those smaller houses that they have that are like 2 bedrooms and they have like a little small pool out back. Yeah, those little houses that run you like a shit ton of money. They're like almost $1 million. You can't even get them for so cheap. But anyway, I had this dream that we would have a little house like that with mature trees everywhere and whatever, you know? And then, so if anybody knows an area where that would be, let me know. So then that year, I think this was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we stayed in Fort Lauderdale for 2 nights. I was so excited. because we stayed at the W. I don't know what it was. We had been to Fort Lauderdale twice before, and I really like Fort Lauderdale. I really like that Los Alamos or whatever that seat is, that street. It's like cobblestone. I think it's adorable. I wouldn't want to live in an area that's all gay, which there's a lot of Fort Lauderdale that is, but I would want to live in an area that is safe as a gay couple. And so Fort Lauderdale has a lot of that, and it's beautiful. But there was just something about Fort Lauderdale that time that I went. I don't know, I just didn't love it as much before. It actually, in comparison to Miami, Fort Lauderdale felt more touristy to me. And very spring breaky. And so we went to Miami, and we drove through like Hollywood. I really liked parts of Hollywood and Aventura and all these places, and I really liked a lot of that down there, you know? And so anyway, we kind of started discussing it. Well, we stopped at like this coffee shop in Hollywood, and I remember that like this coffee shop was like in this strip mall, but the strip mall was like by a college, and it was like a really cute like little area. And it reminded me a lot of like where my office is here. And I just felt so comfortable and so safe there. I was like, you know, I could live here in this area. And so we talked about that, and then we were driving in, and like then we were in Miami for the week. And that was like the first time we'd actually stayed in Miami and like really spent some time in Miami. And I walked around South Beach, and instantly I was like, we're moving here. Like this is, we are moving to South Beach. Like I need to live in South Beach. Okay, so if you guys haven't been to South Beach in Miami, it's kind of a mix of old and new, but like it's kind of unrealistic to live in South Beach. Like it's super expensive. Like you could get a studio condo or, you know, a small condo, and it would be outrageous how much you would pay. Because Alex and I always look when we're there. We always look at like, you know, the properties that are available and whatever, and it's just outrageous. There's just no way. And the reality of, you know, like living there full time with 3 dogs or 2 dogs or whatever, you know, at that time, I hate even thinking about that. You know, it's just like really, really hard. And I had never wanted to live in a high rise. Alex's dream had always been to live in the penthouse apartment of a high rise in Miami like that. He would love nothing more, right? Okay, we don't have that kind of money. So anyway, and he knows that. But he did want to live in like a high rise in like, you know, downtown Miami or Brickell or something like that. Well, those are so expensive anyway. And I have never wanted to live in a building like that. So we were talking today, because every time we go down there, we kind of find more and more areas we'd like to live. And he was like, you would really like to live in South Beach, wouldn't you? And I said, if financially we could afford it, I would buy a place in South Beach and live there. And not have a car and walk everywhere. And he's like, would you really? And I said, oh my God, yeah. Go to the beach every day. And he's like, well, the older I get, the more I think I want to be in like a house with a little pool out back for the dogs, and, you know, for us to have like some privacy and it be in a residential area. He's like, I don't want all that fast craziness anymore. I'm like, oh my God, we have like, the tables have totally turned. And I am like, and what's so funny is, he'll say things now like, if we move, and I think for him too it's hard because of his nephews, you know, or our nephews, and he'll say like, well, if we move, and I'm like, you mean when we move? Because I'm, you know, ready. But we're gonna keep our condo here and go back and forth. A lot of the work that Alex does is contractual. Well, the majority of it is contractual, like 90%. So he could have contracts in Miami, and he could have contracts here and go back and forth, and it would totally be realistic. And then I could just go with him wherever he needed to be, you know? My projects I can do anywhere as well. And, or if I was here for 2 weeks out of the month, just plan him around that, you know? I don't know, we still have a couple of years, but it's fun dreaming about that stuff. Do you guys do that, you know? These are so good. I'm not afraid to move anymore. One of the things that's weird about getting older is that the things that bothered you before, they kind of don't bother you that much, you know? It's like, I've talked a lot about this on here before about dying, and I used to have such a fear of dying, and I don't anymore. I wouldn't want to wait until I'm 60 to move to Florida, or get a place down there at least, but I'd be totally fine waiting until like 55. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Alex's best friend is moving back here from LA. For a long time, I thought, well, maybe we'll just do the LA thing, you know? But I have no desire to be in LA. If you live in LA, hey, God bless you. I think it's a great city. I love visiting there. I haven't been there that many times in my life. I think I've been there twice. Alex has been there a lot because his best friend lives there. He loves LA. But Alex will say this too. He's like, I like to visit there, but I wouldn't want to live there. He's like, it's so expansive. He was like, unless you live real close to your friend. And see, I haven't been there in so long that I don't know this one, you know, like, but he's like, unless you live really close to your friends, it's not very realistic to, you know, even go visit somebody or whatever. I mean, it has to be like, you have to plan the whole day around it. And, I don't know. And then people are like, well, aren't you going to do the whole YouTube? I mean, I get asked this question a lot by YouTubers. Well, you know, if you were in LA, you could do collabs and stuff like that. And I would love that, you know, but like, it's so expensive in LA. There's just something different about Florida to me than LA. There just really is, you know? And, also, because I used to road trip it, it's like, if I needed to get in my car and just come home, like, I know this is stupid, you know, but like, it's just like, I can't imagine driving to LA, but like, if I needed to get in my car and like drive home to Indianapolis, like, I could do it, you know what I mean? Like, I know the roads, I've done it a million times, we've taken that road trip so many times, you know, but like, LA, I don't know anything really about, so the whole LA thing, I wouldn't say it scares me or I'm intimidated by it. I just don't really have any interest in it. But, you know, I do think that YouTubers can be really successful. I think entertainers, actors, musicians can be really successful and not live in New York, you know, Chicago, LA, San Francisco. I mean, I don't think we have to live in those cities anymore to be super successful as entertainers. You know, I mean, I don't consider myself really an entertainer, but you know what I mean? Like, people, I think back in the day, it's like if you were going to be a singer or you were going to be this, you know, actor, you had to, but like, there's a lot of like movie stars and singers and stuff that don't live in like major metropolitan cities. I do think there's some, I mean, it helps, I think, you know, like, I think with modeling, it probably, you have to live in those cities or you're not, I mean, you can't live in Indiana and go to, you know, I mean, you could, but I mean, I've known some people that have done that. It was funny because our friend Brittany that married us, she is now, like, she's one of our very best friends. She's now the director of Miss Ireland universe. And, because she was 6th in the Miss USA pageant. She was Miss Indiana USA. If I haven't talked about this on here, we're like friends with lots of them. We used to be like real obsessed with like the whole pageant world. And so, but anyway, she's such a sweetheart. And she was on that show. I cannot remember what it was, but Naomi Campbell and Coco Rocha they were like the judges. They had teams. What was that show called? But what's really weird about that was this girl, so by then, Brittany had moved. She used to live in LA, or in Las Vegas, then LA, then in New York, then back to Las Vegas, and now she lives in Ireland. I can't remember what that show was called, but we watched the whole season of it. I think there might have been 2 seasons of it, but it was where the girls were going to be like models, and I can't remember who the 3rd judge was. But anyway, we have this friend of ours here in town in Indianapolis named Ebony, and she was on the show too, the same season as Brittany. And Brittany was like, oh my God, how do you guys know Ebony? And then Brittany later told me, she was like, there are so many girls, you know, in the modeling industry that come from these small towns, and, you know, you can go and travel during like the fashion seasons, but when you're not, you don't have to do that, you know. And like, Brittany spent like 6 weeks in China doing the Chinese fashion season and stuff like that, and she loved it. She loved being over there. It was such an experience for her, she said. What is that TV show called? Why can't I remember what it's called? I've had a lot of friends that have been on reality TV shows. My friend Heather has been on 2 reality shows. I can't remember what hers were called either. One was about this group of people that went on a trip around the world. It was bad. They didn't even show the whole season. She wasn't great on it. I'd call her, I'd be like, text her while we're watching it. I'd be like, girl. She's like, I know. But she got to travel around the world. They went to some really, really cool places. She just wasn't really willing to try anything on the show. But other than that, whatever. I haven't talked to her in forever. She lives in Vegas. And then who else do I have that's a friend of mine? I feel like that's been on. Well, 2 of our friends almost were on the X Factor and American Idol. They got to like the final round of casting, and then they didn't get the part. I don't know who else. I can't think. Oh, RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, I've known a couple of those queens. I feel like there's something I'm totally forgetting. We have a really good friend of ours that like auditioned for Project Runway like 8 seasons. And like the last season, like she said something to Tim Gunn and the last time, and she said, it doesn't matter how many times I try out, they're never gonna let me on, are they? And he is kind of like shook his head, so she never tried out again. And she's an incredible fashion designer here in town and very successful. But you know, I think the reality show thing is that people really want to see a certain kind of look or a certain kind of, you know what I mean? Like, they're looking for that. It's not just that they, you know, want the best or whatever. I mean, they want a show, you know? So, we all want a show. Gas goes up and goes down. I was just at the gas station and it said 256, and this gas station up here says 265. I like to ride up this interstate, and then I drive up here and I film my vlog, and then I come back and I take country roads and I listen to my audiobook, and I have an hour and 40 minutes left, so that's going to give me, like, I'll have it by the time I get home. I'll have my audiobook done. An hour and 45 minutes. I was down in the basement. I have all these books. I have all these books. I have all these books set aside. That gas over there says 259. 6 cents difference. I mean, if you're one side of the interstate to the other. But anyway, this is small town America right here. These little small. Oh my God, there's one down there. Anyway, I picked up this book, and it was called like Tropic Heat or something like that. It was like a detective novel, and I used to always read those detective novels back in the day, and I like picked it up, and I thought, that's Miami on the cover, and I'm always looking for mysteries that take place in Miami, and I can never find like good mystery. I always even like Google mysteries in Miami, because I want to like take a mystery book down there when we're reading, or when we're down there I want to take one to read. And this year I'm going to read Star Island, which is by Carl Hyacin, and it's about this girl that's kidnapped, and she's like a star, and but it takes place in Star Island in Miami. And then I want to take like a book down there to physically read while I'm down there. So I found this book and I turned it over, and it was like about this female detective. It was totally something that I would love to read in Miami. And it was like Detective Judy Smith, whatever, has lived in Miami most of her life as a homicide detective. She's worked 15 years in the force, and bodies are turning up everywhere, and people are afraid to go to parties and on the beach. And I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to read while I'm in Miami. This is fantastic. So I was so excited. And there it was, sitting in a box right there in my basement. Because I have all these books that I'm gonna take to Half Price Books one of these days. I don't really want to take all these books though and then have them tell me, so we'll give you, you know, $6.42. And then I'll be like, well, why did I bring all these books in here? I could have just kept them at home and looked at them or something. No, but you know what I mean. It either is hot or cold in my car. There's never like an in-between. Tonight was the Grammys. My mom loved award shows. I would have come over to her condo tonight, my condo now, and sat around, and she would have got like 3 kinds of cheese. She would have got Havarti and probably Brie, and then just like a regular like Colby Jack or something like that. And then she would have got like wheat thins or Triscuits. Triscuits were her favorite, and she would have put it all on like this cheese plate and cut it up very nicely. And then she would have had probably hummus, and she would tell me about how healthy hummus is for me, and that I needed to eat more hummus, and that chickpeas were so healthy for me. She would tell me all that. And then she would have her fruit of the moment, which is like, you know, like whatever fruit she's just her Dr. Oz say was super healthy, like blueberries. She's always talking about blueberries. But then she would tell me how expensive they were. She'd say, now I got some blueberries. She put like, you know, I don't know, 30 blueberries in like a little glass cup for like us to snack on. And she'd say, now they're very expensive, so I didn't buy that many. She'd always say that. And then we'd drink coffee, and we'd sit there and we watch the award shows, and of course talk through the whole damn show. And I miss it so much. I really, really do. And it was so much fun, you know? Now, we weren't so much Grammy. We would watch the Grammys and the Golden Globes and the SAG Awards, but our big one was the Oscars, which I think is coming up it has to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. But that was like our big night that we would watch the shows and just root and holler for our favorites. And I haven't seen any of these movies this year, none of them. And this is like my second year in a row that I haven't seen any of the movies. And a couple years ago, I did this for my mom because I thought she would love it. Alex and I think I just talked about this on here not too long ago. Alex and I took a night, because there's like 8 movies nominated. We had seen like 1 or 2 of them. Alex and I took a night, and we went and saw 3 of them back to back. We saw Lincoln, Les Mis, and Argo back to back. And that was like a Sunday. And that following Friday, I canceled out my whole day. I didn't have anything to do, no appointments, no projects, anything like that. This was like our 3rd year together, I think, or whenever, I don't know, whenever those movies came out. And I went and saw 4 movies back to back that day, and then I went and saw Django Unchained. I mean, my first movie was like at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I went boom, 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 and I saw 4 movies back to back that day. Let me just tell you, after that second movie, I didn't want any soda, I didn't want any popcorn, I didn't want any candy. I was so tired of it all. And then that night, Tanya called me. It was a Friday night, and she said, do you have any movies left? And I said, I have 1 movie left, and it's Django Unchained. Do you want to go see it? And we went and saw Django Unchained, and I saw every movie that was up for an Oscar that year, and I was so excited. And I remember the movie that impacted me the most. Like, if you just like laid out all those movies and said, okay, which one really affected you? Naomi Watts, I think that's who it is, in The Impossible. about the family that was in, you know, those tsunamis that happened in Sri Lanka. It's the one where Nate Berkus, you know, the designer, where his boyfriend was killed. Not killed, but like lost. They never found him. Like, that movie put me through it. Like, seriously. And it was a true story. I will never forget sitting in the movie theater watching that movie by myself. I just felt like, oh my God. I like going to see movies by myself. I really, really do. I don't know what it is about seeing a movie by myself in the movie theater. It's just like I'm able to focus a little bit more. Although I will tell you this, that my husband, there absolutely is no talking aloud when you go to the movie theater with him. That's not anything like, can I have some of that candy, all the way to, what did she just say? You don't ask any questions in a movie whatsoever, period. In the story, he can't stand it. My mother would have driven him crazy. He would have been like, oh my God, does she ever stop talking? So I've learned I don't talk. When Melissa, my friend Melissa and I, when we take our husbands to go see movies, we sit on the end and they sit on the end, because like we drive them crazy with our talking and our questions. We drag them to the oldest movies. We always make them go see like The Exorcist or Halloween or whatever. Okay, I am at 30 minutes. 29 minutes and 10 seconds. So I'm going to stop this and let it cool down for a second. I'll be right back and do like 10 minutes more. I don't want this to be too long, but it's going to shut itself off here in a second anyway, because it always shuts off right before 30 minutes. Should we just let it run and I'm going to watch it and see how long it shuts off? I'm interested to see. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36... 37, 38. I wonder when it's going to shut off. I thought it always shut off before this. I know it shuts off before 30. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just keep on going, and I was wrong all along about this. Okay, I guess we now know that it just shuts itself off. It was like at 29 minutes and 50 seconds, I think is where it shut itself off. Which is weird. Why wouldn't it just shut off at 30 minutes? It doesn't make any sense. I feel like whenever I wear this hat anymore, I feel like my ears are like this. Like I have elf ears or something. Anyway. I'm so relaxed tonight. I feel so relaxed. The only thing I have to do tomorrow is get my hair cut. I'm really excited about that. Oh my gosh. I think I'm gonna finish my audiobook. I'm gonna turn around here in a second, finish my audiobook, and then I am going to go home and get a good night's sleep tonight, because I need it. And not only that, but I deserve it. So do you guys remember that song Pictures of Me by The Cure? I've been thinking of that song a lot lately. I don't know why. I was listening to some old music on my live stream tonight. I pulled out some Smiths. I was talking about Susie and the Banshees. Why we didn't just buy a washer and dryer today. Alex was like, well, let's just go look at some other places. I go, right now? He goes, no, not right now. I want to go home. I mean, this is why we don't have a washer and dryer, because we're so lazy. And I was like, okay. I go, when do you want to do this? He's like, I don't know, maybe the first of the year, or first of the year. Maybe the 1st of February. I was like, well, we can get it right now. I will say this for the people at Best Buy, they weren't wanting to help us. We stood there by the dryers and the washers for like a good 15 minutes because Alex was showing me this ridiculous refrigerator. This is my husband, okay? He always wants the coolest gadget. He found this refrigerator, and it was like $3,900, and it has like a TV screen on it, and you can like watch TV in the kitchen, you can like play your iPod, whatever, you can play music on there, you can like have your whole schedule. It is very cool. I mean, for like a mom that had like 6 kids, it would be perfect, because it has like, you can put your schedule on there, so like anybody can check the schedule at any given time. I mean, I guess we could just do that with paper, couldn't we, in a magnet? But I mean, that's the way I think, you know, the cheap version of it. Alex was like, look, I said, we don't need a $3,900 refrigerator, we need a washer and dryer. He goes, well, I'm not saying that we should get it. I go, we don't have that many appointments anyway. He goes, you're always asking me my work schedule. I go, I know, because you tell me on Sunday nights like what you're doing throughout the week, and then like by the middle of the week, I've forgotten what you said to me. And he goes, you mean by the next day? I go, or the next day. But I do, because like I have become my mom kind of this. Like my mom used to, I would say to my mom, like, are you listening to me? And she'd say, yeah, I can repeat back everything that you just said. And I said, no, you heard it, but you're not listening. You're like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Why am I so craving a bean burrito from Taco Bell? I don't even know, but it sounds so good to me right now. And that Taco Bell is open, but I don't need it. But anyway, but like I do that sometimes. I find myself like hearing but not listening, you know, like I remember when I was in school, that was like one of the things we always talked about, like learning, was like like being an active listener, you know. I guess I'm not an active listener always. I get bored easily, you know. I'm so like driven to distraction that it's hard for me to focus sometimes and pay attention. That's why I got such shitty grades in school. I do believe though that if I, like growing up, because we didn't really, like nobody got diagnosed with this stuff back in the day. I think if somebody had like diagnosed me back when I was in like junior high, I mean, I was never that kid, you guys, that got like, you remember how like people would be like, oh, he got A's in like 5th grade, but then his grades went to shit? Like I never got good grades, okay? And on every report card ever in elementary school, it would always say like, Peter talks too much in class. Peter's too social. And which is so funny now that I have such social anxiety. But I think part of my social anxiety is that I was like put down constantly by teachers and authority for talking too much, or talking in class, or talking to somebody. That now I see that as like talking to people as like a bad thing, you know, like where I don't think I should see it that way. I don't know. I just don't think I should see it that way, but I did, you know, and I think it's ingrained in me somewhere, like this like negative thing about it. And I don't know, it's just kind of sad, you know, that I can remember being hushed in classes, you know, like where I would be like even when it was like I've always been a loud talker. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting fact. I haven't talked about this on here. I think this is like a new fact. What's going on with my phone? Why does my phone like light up even when I'm not using it? So I'm really hard of hearing in this ear, and I could never figure it out. And my dad has had hearing loss in this ear too, so I thought maybe it was genetic. I didn't know if hearing losses were genetic or not. But I have a good friend of mine that's an audiologist. Is that how you say it? She's very well known in her field and very good. So one day she just came to my office. She was like, I'm gonna bring all my stuff. We're gonna run tests. We'll get you outfitted, you know, with like a hearing aid. I was like, oh, I don't want a hearing aid. I'm like, at this point, this was like 2 years ago. I'm like in my early 40s. She's like, Peter, we have hearing aids that are so small now that nobody will even know that you have it on. You can put it like behind your ear right here. And did you guys know this? So anyway, I was like, okay. She goes, well, either way, we'll find out what's going on. So what she found out was that I actually don't have, and she thinks that this could be connected to the fact that I'm epileptic and that I have a neurological problem, because she's seen other people that are epileptic that have the same problem that I do. So what happens is, okay, that when a sound comes into your ear, it actually goes into your ear, the brain recognizes it, and then it feeds it back out to like what, I don't know how it is, but she drew the whole thing for me, okay? So like, if your brain gets it slower, than the other ear, it comes across as like hearing, like you can't hear as well in that ear, if that makes sense. But it may not be a hearing problem whatsoever, because she did a hearing test on me and I had perfect hearing. I said, there is no way I have perfect hearing. There's no way. Like, I mean, I've spoken loud, like my last, 15 years of my life, really loud. People have always like hushed me down, and I don't realize I'm talking loud. And she's like, your hearing is completely perfect. And she's like, and so she showed it to me, and it's kind of like this, like cornucopia kind of thing, how your ear is, and then it like goes like this. If you guys know shit about ears, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it has something to do with like the brain synapses, that when they recognize the sound and then it feeds it to your brain of like what it is or something, I don't know, but mine is slower. It's like, and it's not like a lot slower, it's just like, like not even that. I mean, it's like 1/1,000,000th of a millisecond slower than like, I gotta turn around, than like everybody else's of like normal hearing. And so like I hear it differently, if that makes sense. And I was like, so this is more of a neurological issue? She's like, yeah. She's like, and honestly, there's not really anything that you can do about it. I was like, well, damn. That's just my luck. So I can't hear out of that mirror. And my dad has sat like this in front of the TV. I mean, I swear to God, since I was in high school, like this. And like he can't, like I have a hard time with background noise. It's really hard for me to hear. The other thing is that like if somebody says something to me, if you're not talking right directly to me and I can't see your lips, a lot of times it doesn't make sense to me, especially fast talkers, which is funny because I'm a fast talker, right? But like this is one of the things that like Alex and I have really had to like work on, because he'll say something to me like, can you hand me that salt? And I'll say, huh? Because I might hear something like, it wasn't my fault. Like I just hear like the intonation of it. This is what I'm talking about, how like it doesn't like clarify like with the neuropsis or the whatever it is. And then I'll say what? And I'll look at him and he'll say, can you hand me the salt? And like sometimes I won't hear it again and I'll go, huh? And by the third time he'll go, never mind. And I'm like, no, like I'm paying attention. What did you say? Could you hand me the salt? And then like, and he's not the only one. A lot of people have done this to me in my life. And then like my mom used to get really frustrated with me because she was like, are you not listening to what I'm saying? This is so funny, since I was just talking to my mom about saying how she hears but doesn't listen. But like when you ask somebody like 3 times to repeat themselves, they get frustrated. Oh, never mind. And then I'm frustrated because I'm like, no, I'm like paying attention. I want to know what you said to me. It was obviously important. They like, go, it's not important. It doesn't matter, right? And I'm like, well, it mattered enough for you to like say it the first 3 times. So can you please say it a 4th time? I promise I'll get it. So Alex has learned that like he has to just repeat things until I hear them, and some days are better than others. And he's so kind with it. He's so patient, because like there was a time when he wasn't super patient. You need to get a hearing aid, but I don't need a hearing aid, and he knows that now. So he doesn't get mad at me anymore about it. And he just, if I say 16 times, huh? Oh gosh. Can I just tell you how excited I am for Roseanne to come back? I'm so excited. It's gonna come on when we're in Miami. I'm not even gonna get to see it. Oh my gosh. Well, of course, Melissa and I will have to have a big viewing party when I come back, so. Miami, we're moving, Roseanne, renewing our vows. Alex has been looking for trips to Thailand. So he's like, shows me constantly, he's like, look, round trip, $99 to Thailand. I'm like, I do not trust any plane that is only $99 to Thailand. I am sorry, but I am not getting on that plane. He's like, what? Why, what? I'm like, no, I'm not getting on any plane that's only $99 to Thailand. There's no way. I don't trust that thing. That scares the hell out of me. Anyway, we've got a lot of exciting things planned for this year, so. All right, you guys, I love you. I hope you're having a wonderful beginning of your week, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.